In this video, I'll talk about real estate investing for beginners with no money. I'll share the exact way on how I bought a six-door apartment even though I was an ordinary employee that had a lot of credit card debt and salary loans. Now, this is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about a lot, but he doesn't actually teach it. So you have to enroll in an expensive course or coaching to get the details. But I'll share three strategies that will help you get started in real estate investing as a beginner, no, with no money. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Ron Kagape. I'm the author of the book No Money Down Formula in Real Estate. Now, I wrote this book to help beginners like you get started in real estate investing. And we're going to start this video right now. Most people think that you need a lot of money to invest in real estate. And most of the time, that is true, especially if you're buying in an exclusive subdivision or in a luxury condo. Obviously, when you're buying in these places, you will need a lot of money. Now, for some, they prefer to buy in cash. Right? They want to pay for it in cash. They don't want to have a loan. So they have that belief that you need a lot of money to invest in real estate. But sometimes you come across good deals that allow you to buy something that you couldn't reach. Like what I did at age 27. I was just an ordinary employee. I was a junior programmer at the bank. I was earning less than 20,000 per month. Yet I was able to buy a six-door apartment, with little or none of my own money. So sometimes you get lucky, especially if you are diligent, in searching for these kinds of deals. So yes, it's true that you need a lot of money to invest in real estate most of the time. So that is the key word, most of the time. Sometimes there are opportunities that you can do the opposite. You can buy property with little or none of your own money involved, as long as you understand how real estate math works. And it's really just basic math. Now, this is the formula that I shared in the previous video entitled How to Invest in Real Estate. Now, when you buy property, right, it has a price, and that price, to be able to pay for that property, all you need to do is to give a down payment, a small down payment, plus you get financing, right? Some people they prefer to buy in cash, so the financing comes from their own pocket. They don't use outside financing. But for average folks, for most people, for most of us, right, we will use this formula: down payment plus financing. And usually the biggest hurdle is the down payment. That is usually the hardest to overcome, especially before the pandemic, when the economy was very hot, when the real estate market was very hot. Most sellers, they would prefer either a huge down payment or that you pay in cash. The good thing is markets change. So now the economy is not so good. Now there are industries that are struggling. And because of that, the developers, the sellers have to adjust and they have to come up with terms of payment that are more friendly, to be able to dispose of their inventory. So in this video, I'm going to share three strategies on how you can invest in real estate with little or no down payment. The first way is actually from developers. So developers offer this. They call it no money down, but I prefer to call it no spot down because the truth is, no, you still put up a down payment, right? So you will be making low monthly payments, but you will not be making a spot cash down payment to enter into the contract. So what do I mean by this? Now, when a property or when a developer is still building the project, they're still developing the project, that's the pre-selling phase, and they are allowed to actually sell the property already, sell the units already, and they can ask for a 10 to 30% down payment from the buyers. So it actually depends on them, especially depends on the market. Before the pandemic, some developers were already asking for 100% spot cash. Well, at least some of them. But no, it's, like I said, mentioned earlier, markets change. So now there may be projects that would be willing to would be willing to sell their units for a low down payment of 10, 20, 30%. And then during the pre-selling phase, the payment is spread out during the entire pre-selling period. So the earlier you are at getting into a project, the longer your paying period and the lower the monthly payment. So this is one of the instances where it makes sense to get in early. Of course, there's a lot of risk involved, when you get into a project early, but we'll discuss that more of that in the future. My role here is just to really show you how you can get started investing in real estate even if you don't have a lot of money. And this is what developers, or at least some developers, offer. Now, after the pre-selling period, of course, you have still have to get your own financing to be able to fully pay the property. Let's look at an example to make it clear. So, for example, you want to buy a property worth 3 million. So, total contract price or TCP is 3 million. Pre-selling period is 5 years or 16 months, and down payment is 20%. Well, 20% of 300,000 is 600,000. So what happens is the down payment is spread over 16 months. So 600,000 divided by 60, that is 10,000 per month. So you only need to pay the developer 10,000 per month. The downside here is you can't use the property, right? So that money, you have to consider that money forced savings because you will not be able to rent it out yet, right? You have to wait until the project is finished before you can either use it or before you can rent it out. But the good thing here is even during the pre-selling phase, especially if it's a hot project and it gets sold out early, you can actually sell your unit, or you sell your property, especially if the price increases. So let's look at what happens when the price increases. So for example, that same property you bought at 3 million with a 20% down payment spread over 5 years. During in the middle, no, in the middle of the pre-construction phase, the developer raises their prices by 10%. So price goes up to 3.3 million. You bought in at 3 million, so now you've already made a 50% return already, right? You made a 300,000 peso profit, and that 300,000 peso profit, divided by 600,000, your down payment, you would already make an ROI of 50%. Now, what if you are able to sell it in the middle, right? You've already paid only 300,000, right? So 300,000 divided by 300,000, your ROI is 100%. You would have already doubled your money. And that's the beauty of real estate, right? You don't need to fully pay your your purchase. You don't need to wait until you are fully paid, no, to profit from the property. Right? So if you can find, that the development, if you can get into a development early enough, get in at low monthly payments, then you can get started in real estate investing. Now you can start the profit, buying and selling, pre-selling, pre-selling contracts where you're able to get in early. Right, so that's the first strategy, no spot down, which is offered by developers. The next option, which is also offered by developers, is called rent to own. So this rent to own scheme, okay, is applicable for properties that obviously are already ready for occupancy. So the developer has already finished the project, it's already up, but they haven't sold all of their inventory yet. So obviously for them, if it's unsold, it's a non-performing asset. They can't rent it out. Well, at least often they cannot do that. They cannot rent it out, or they would prefer, right? They prefer to sell it because they'd like to be able to use the money, to build other projects. So this happens for RFO properties. They haven't been able to sell it yet, and it's just like normal renting, right? You just pay 1 to 2 months security deposit, right? When you rent, you have to pay a 1 or 2 months security deposit, and then you pay rent for 1 or 2 years. So that's how rent to own, at least most of the rent to own uh, rent to own terms that I have seen from developers, this is the period. It's 1 to 2 years. And your down payment, the total rent, is equal to your down payment. So if it's 10% down payment, that 10% is divided into 1 or 2 years, and that's the rental that you pay. All right. And then after 1 or 2 years, you get your own financing, whether that's pag-ibig or that's back financing, or even if the seller or if the developer offers seller financing, you can also get that to fully pay the property. All right. So again, let's look at an example. Same example, developer has now no or same price, 3 million. Down payment is 20%, so again 600,000. But this time the rent is 2 years, so 24 months, and then 2 months security deposit. So the divisor is now 26, right? 600,000 divided by 26, it's 23,000 per month. But the good thing here, although it's much higher, right? It's much higher than the no spot down example. Well, you can already live in it, or you can already use the property yourself. Okay. Now, in some instances, you'll be able to rent it out. You just need to check. You just need to check with your rent-own contract if you can sublease it to another person. But usually, from what I've seen, uh, the developer does not allow subleasing. Okay, I could be wrong with some developers. Okay, I haven't seen all of the rent-to-own contracts out there, but there is a way around it. Okay, so what you do is you live there, and then you just share share the unit with someone, like a kind of like a condo sharing scheme or a bed spacing scheme, where you put up beds, then you rent it out, and you get the rent to pay for your rent to own. So that's how you, I guess, hack the system. That's how you make rent to own work for you, even if you haven't fully paid the property. So that is the second way to get into real estate investing as a beginner with no money. Now you can look for rent to own schemes out there. So I hope you are learning something, in this video. And if you are and you like what you're learning, please make sure to smash the like button. Now hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps me. It helps those. It supports the channel, and it helps YouTube share this to more people, so that more people will be able to apply these strategies in their investing journey. Right, so moving on to number three, this is what I call no money down formula. So this formula applies to RFO properties also, but these are properties that are being sold, by individual sellers or by companies that have already bought, properties from developers. So this does not work with developer properties. You can't go to a big developer and say, I'd like to buy your property using Ronald's no money down formula. So they will just laugh at you. They will tell you, who is Ronald? Okay, even if you show them my video, no, they will most likely not agree with this formula. But what is this formula? Well, we go back to the usual formula. Okay, the usual formula for buying property is price is equal to down payment plus financing, right? We mentioned this earlier in the video. The no money down formula plays around a little bit with the math, right? So we solve for down payment, okay? So we put down payment on the left side. So go back to your, I guess, algebra, right? Your algebra lessons. You solve for x. And in this case, x is down payment. So down payment is equal to price minus financing, okay? So I hope that is very clear. To get the down payment, you subtract the total price minus the financing that you can get. Okay. So in algebra, if price is less than or equal to financing, right? The price is equal to the financing that you can get, or even lower than the financing that you can get, then down payment is zero. Okay. So I'd like you to think about it for a few seconds. Right? I want you to really get this, because if you get this, then that's the whole formula, right? Now, I wrote the book, No Money Down Formula, so that you can find properties that fall under this situation, because this is not applicable for all properties. These are really for special properties. And I'm going to give an example to make it very clear to you. Okay. Now, this is actually what Robert Kiyosaki teaches, right? Robert Kiyosaki talks about no buying, no money down. No, you use other people's money to buy property, no money down. But it doesn't actually teach the details. It doesn't actually share the details of how it is implemented. And that's why I wrote down my book, No Money Down Formula. This is how you use other people's money. And in this case, this next example, OPM is the bank's money, right? So that is one source of OPM, the bank. Okay, how do we use this formula? For example, we found a two-bedroom condo, two bedroom, 74 square meter condo. All right, that these are the basic pictures. Right, it has a view of Manila Bay. It is facing Manila Bay. This is in Pasay, so it's afternoon sun. It's not ideal, but because it's in the Manila Bay, it's very windy. It has a cool breeze always. So even in the afternoon, you just open the window, and it would be fine. You don't need to turn on your air conditioning. So it's a basic unit, right? It's actually an old unit. It's nothing spectacular, right? But no, we were able to buy it using the no money down formula. And how did we do that? Well, first off, the seller's price was 1.85 million. So they were advertising this. At that time, this was advertised in the Buy and Sell magazine, which is no longer in print, no longer in circulation. But for us, no, we negotiated. Right? In one of my videos, How to Invest in Real Estate, I mentioned that one of the advantages of real estate is it's negotiable. Everything in real estate is negotiable. So we were able to negotiate the price down to 1.5 million. So we were able to get an 18.92% discount from the seller's price. Okay, so that's our price. That's the agreed upon price. So now we turn around, we go to the bank, and we ask them how much can we get for this property? How much financing can we get for this property? Well, the bank told us that they will loan us 70% of the value of the property. So the bank will do an appraisal and then they will come up with their own value, right? So that's the other cool thing. They won't use the price that we agreed upon. They will do their own due diligence, they will do their own valuation, and the bank will give us 70% of that value, whatever it is that they come up with. So it just so happened that the bank appraised it at 2.22 million. Okay, 2.22 million. If you are quick in your with your calculator, right? Get your calculator or maybe use your phone. If you're, I don't know how you're going to use this. I don't know if you can listen while or you can pause the video and then solve how much. I would encourage you to participate. Pause the video, solve how much loan did we get. If the bank appraised it at 2.22 and 70% of that is the loan that they will give us, how much loan did we get? Okay, so did you get it? All right. I hope you got the same answer. We got a loan of 1.554 million. All right. So going back to our formula, right? Down payment is equal to price minus financing. Our price is 1.5 million. The financing is 1.554 million. So 1.5 minus 1.554 million, how much is that? So that's how you apply the no money down formula. So in this case, we actually made money. It's crazy to think we made money by buying this condo. We got 54 million. Of course, that is a loan. That's something that you need that we needed to pay off. So there are many ways, right? Again, there's more than one way to profit in this property. In this case, no, we profited by reselling the property for 2 million. So we were able to repay that loan, uh, recoup the investments that no, we already put into this property, and then we made our profit. So that's how you apply the no money down formula. So the no money down formula, is really cool, especially when you're able to use it. I like using it, and if you do, please make sure to hit the like button again, for the YouTube algorithm. That helps the channel grow, and also consider subscribing to the channel. But before we go, I still have a bonus tip for you. And here is the bonus strategy. This is the strategy that Robert Kiyosaki talks about, where you partner with investors. This is the other example of other people's money. You partner with investors. So, how does this work? If you will remember earlier, I mentioned that at age 27, I was able to buy a six-door apartment, and that apartment was worth 3.5 million pesos. My salary was less than 20,000 per month, and I could not, at that salary, I could not get a loan for 3.5 million. That's really just out of my paying capacity. But we were able to negotiate the terms with the bank. 10%, we give them a spot down payment, 10% after 90 days, and 80% seller financing for the next 10 years. So since I did not have that 10%, which is equal to 350,000, I had to get 50,000 from other investors. So I got 50,000 from other interested people, people who are interested to get in on this deal. So that's 700 people, 50,000 each, 350,000. I put in 50,000 myself, but that 50,000, that was a loan, right? Another loan from someone else. So we actually came up with 400,000 in the beginning. That 50,000 was going to be used for the initial repairs, repainting and all that, because the strategy here was to sell this apartment quickly. So we're going to be flipping this property quickly. Okay. So the next 10%, which we were supposed to pay after 30 days, we got from the buyers already because we would get down payments from the buyers, right? And we would get 350,000 from them total. And that one we used for the 10%. And then we also sold it by installment. So whatever payments that they would pay to us, part of that goes to paying the seller. So that's how you can get started, by partnering with investors. But you have to make it worth their while. So my investors in here, they got an ROI of 51%. So they would get their money back in 2 years, and then for the next 15 years, they would get monthly passive income from this project. So if you don't have a lot of money, right, if you don't have a lot of savings, this is an option. You partner with investors. But of course, to be able to do this, you will have to invest in learning, right? You have to invest in yourself, right? Invest in becoming a better deal maker, a better investor, and that will allow you, to partner with people who have that money. So those are the four strategies that you can use to get started with real estate investing as a beginner, with no money. You can start with no spot down terms being offered by some developers now, or you can also look for rent to own options, like if you want to be able to live in that property or use that property already. So go for rent to own. These two are the simplest ways that can help you get started in real estate. Now, if you want to go outside of developer properties, deal with private sellers, in the resale market, then I suggest that you master the no money down formula. You can read more about it in my book, No Money Down Formula in Real Estate. You can check that out at nomoneydownformula.com. And then finally, you can also work with investors. So you partner with investors. Start with your friends, start with your relatives, so that you can all learn together and grow and make deals in real estate and grow rich. So if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the Deal Maker channel and check out our playlists on real estate investing and check out our other videos. I also talk about other topics such as investing in the global stock market and starting online side hustles and just becoming better. I also talk about self-development so that you can become a better deal maker and a better investor. And always remember, it's always a great day to make deals, and I hope that all of your deals will push through. See you in our next video.